All right, what we have here is a gas log fireplace. This one is manufactured by Lennox. To my knowledge, there is nothing wrong with this. He just wanted to get it checked out. So we're gonna go over a few things on this and start it up and see how it works. I'm not getting any power. Let's try these switches up here. There we go. Let's see which one it is. Okay, it's the middle one. All right, I've been unsuccessful trying to find a remote control for it. All right, got the gas on. We're just gonna see if it lights. So we're going to hold down on this button. Okay, it's sparking there in the back. I'll hold down on it for a minute. There we go. Can you guys see that pilot? It lit. So we're gonna keep holding down. So we're gonna keep holding down on this button for a little bit and heat that thermopile up. It's an awful lot of pilot light there. It's like, oh, it went out. I just want to see if it works right now. We are going to get in there and see if we can clean up the thermopile or if it has a thermocouple in it also. Typically with fireplaces, you have both thermopile and a thermocouple. But this is 120 volts, and I've, to my knowledge, don't remember working on a Lennox fireplace before, so I'm not sure what we're going to find when we open this thing up, but we'll figure it out. All right, it keeps going out. There we go. Should stay lit. One thing with a thermopile is sometimes it takes longer for it to heat up than a thermocouple. Thermocouple usually heats up within, 20, 30 seconds, sometimes a minute. Thermopile sometimes takes a little bit longer to heat that big thermopile up. All right, now that we have it on, let's go ahead and turn the gas to the on position, which is right here at the bottom of the screen. I'm gonna turn it on. And then we're gonna turn the gas up. Okay, I'm assuming we don't have a call right now. There we go. Yep, so it's both switches. I got you. The center switch is power. The right side switch is the heating call. So let's just test our theory. Turn it off. Yep, it killed it right away. So this essentially is working like a thermostat, except it's just an on-off switch. It'll be fogged up, the glass fogged up. All right, let's go ahead and turn the knob up a little bit, see if we can get a better flame. Yeah. That glass is good and foggy. All right, let's turn it back off. Let her cool down, and we'll try to open this thing up so we can access the goodies inside. All right, down at the bottom here, there was these two straps here, these two clamps. Open those up and that loosens the glass. I believe we'll just pick straight up and off. Very careful with this glass. Do not want to damage it or make it fall and break. So let's go set this in a safe spot. Okay. Now it's very important when you're working on gas logs, if you remove the logs, remember how they went back, because it is very easy to confuse yourself. So we're videoing this right now, but just before you do anything with a gas log, take a picture of it so you know how everything goes back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good overhead video of this right now so I know exactly where everything goes back. This one, you know, it's got a good amount of logs, but some of them might have 8 or 10 logs and it's very easy to get confused. All right, so let's take this guy out. We'll grab this guy. And this guy. That should be enough to get us where we need to get to. All right, let's have a look here. Let me get some light on. All right, so this is our thermopile. This is where our pilot comes out. And this guy over here is our thermocouple, that guy there. And then this little guy back here, that is our piezo igniter. So that will actually create a spark off of the pilot assembly to light the pilot. And you can see that thermopile or pilot generator is pretty dirty. We can clean that up. We can also clean up the thermocouple. So it's a little bit different thermocouple than normal. All right, guys, real quick about a fireplace thermocouple. This is a fireplace thermocouple here. See how it looks different? Less surface area, a little bit weirder shaped. That is a quick dropout, low mass thermocouple. It's different than a normal water heater thermocouple or gas furnace thermocouple, anything with standing pilot, because in a fireplace, it also has a thermopile. I'm going to explain a little bit more of that later in the video, but typically this does not need to be like a normal thermocouple because it also has that thermopile. All right, so you might be asking yourself, well, why does it need both? Why does it need a thermocouple and a thermopile? Well, the thermocouple just acts for keeping the pilot on. That's it. That's the thermopile. That's the thermocouple's only job in a fireplace, is to keep that pilot on, to prove flame. The thermopile is actually generating an electrical signal. They both are generating an electrical signal, but the thermopile is actually powering the gas valve. So even though we have a 120 volt circuit here, which I believe is for the blower that I have not found yet. I think it's in here somewhere. Yeah, I see it. It's right there. There's the blower. There's the blower wheel anyway. That 120 volts is only for the blower. The thermopile here creates a millivolt signal to power the gas valve. The thermocouple creates a electrical signal just to keep the pilot on. All right, so we're just gonna take a piece of emery cloth and just lightly clean up the thermopile. And then also the thermocouple. And see if we can get some of that little igniter too. What we can see, watch it spark. I think it's making a good spark anyway. Yeah. So, looks like it's making a good spark, so we don't have anything to worry about there. All right, now we don't want to go crazy with cleaning this thing, but we do want to make sure it is clean. By the looks of it, I'm looking at this whole assembly. I feel like that whole assembly might be all fastened together. Typically you can replace one part or the other, but all that looks like one solid assembly. So if anything fails on that, you might have to change the whole thing. I am not about to take the whole thing apart right now because I have no reason to. But typically you can replace the different parts on that. All right, now that that's good and clean, I'm just going to inspect the rest of the burner. These little pieces of cloth here, the flame hits that and it simulates burning coals, so you really don't want to move those very much. If you do move them, you want to make sure you put them back. The little orifices there are set up in such a way so it actually looks like a fire. So we have these slits here and then little holes and slits in the front. That's so more fire can get through than others, you know, to simulate an actual fire and not just a flame burning. All right, so our burner section looks like it's in good shape, so we're gonna go ahead and reassemble. All right, just to be 100% sure, I consulted my picture, and yes, we have all this in the correct space. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and put that glass back on because we don't need that open anymore. And our top's just gonna hook in, and our bottom will get clipped by those clips. Make sure that sets in properly. All right. And then we're going to make sure our clips grab what they're supposed to. Good. All right. Now the way these typically work, and then we're going to start this back up again. I'm going to keep the power on, but our thermostat switch off while I light this. So we're going to put it back on pilot, push in, light the pilot, and it lit right away. if you guys can see that or not. Oh, see our pilot lit. Gonna hold that down for a couple minutes. Like I said, typically when you're talking about a thermopile, it takes a little bit longer to get it lit. All right, see, it didn't take as long that time. I'm not sure if that was because I lit it a little while ago or I cleaned it up. I like to think it's because I cleaned it up, but let's turn it on. All right, now we're gonna hit our wall switch. And light this thing up. There we go. All right. Now we want to make sure our blower comes on. So the blowers typically work a couple different ways. Sometimes you can turn them on and they will run all the time, but also sometimes there will be a limit switch to let the fireplace know when to bring it on. So it's just not blowing cold air all the time. So we'll try to get in here. You see that silver thing in the back? That's our blower wheel. And like I said, typically that's connected to some sort of limit switch. All right, you guys, you see that little disc on the top there? That is our limit switch. So once that switch reaches a certain temperature, it will allow the blower to come on. Not really sure what that temperature is, but that's what that thing does there. It presses right up against the bottom of the fireplace here. You touch this ever so slightly, and it's not even really warm at all yet. It's getting there though. So once that gets warm enough, it'll bring the fan on. Which this thing is putting off a ton of heat anyway, even without the blower, but once that blower gets going, it'll be some very serious supplement heat here. All right, now the blower has started. So this, the more you turn it, the slower it goes. Nice wide open there. And you can turn it all the way up. You can run this without the blower if you'd like. All right, and there we have it.